games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change, I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name, I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame, no I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, and it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots, if I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change, I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name, I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame, no I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent, and it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots, if I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, needs some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO,
Hello. Hello. I'm still live. I'm eating a cookie. I wonder how that probably works, and then the mic isn't on the camera. Although most people that use the mic, that ends up being on their camera, I think, half the time. That's a pretty good cookie. I just ate dinner. I made some chili. It actually wasn't as good as usual. I don't know. It's been a while since I made it. Plus, I'm still not all. Oh. These are decadent peanut butter chocolate chunk cookies. I got them at Walmart. They were on markdown. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good cookies. Yeah. Ah, fuck it. I don't care if the mic's on camera. I'll stop. Yeah, we'll have another cookie. See if anybody shows up. It said somebody was in here earlier, but I was getting everything set up. Oh shit! Somebody's texting. What's the chance? What do you want to bet? I bet it's my friend. I'll tell you, it's the friend I'm thinking of. I I will let you know if I was correct. 99% sure that's who it is. We'll see. Ooh. It's pretty good sized cookies too. Well, not now. Mm-hmm. Them are down from $5 to $3 and something. 34 cents. So that's why I'm trying to eat them because they still taste pretty fresh. Let's see. Was I right? I was right. I was like, I thought these were fucking cookies. They're pretty good. I think anybody to show up thinking that there was a One Piece review and there's some weird white man, old man, eating a cookie would be very disappointed. Next week, One Piece is on a break. I'm assuming anybody will watch this would already have read the chapter. Yeah, it's good cookie, man. If you ever, I can say it, just decadent peanut butter chocolate chunk from like Walmart. I got this at the Walmart grocery. I don't know if they have them everywhere, but like they tried to open them up a few years ago. There's one near me. I go to because it's easier for me because it's smaller than an actual Walmart, but it's like neighborhood market. I'm assuming they have them at like regular Walmart, like super Walmarts or whatever. But it's pretty good. Like I said, I got them marked down for $5 because they were older, but they're not stale or anything. They're pretty good. They're bigger than I thought, and I just ate my dinner. Kmart, no, Kmart's like 99. I think they might all be out of business now. You live in America? USA, excuse me. Ah, damn, what time is it there? Is it the next day? Is it Saturday where you're at? Because I guess you're almost like, are you like a whole day ahead of us? For real? I didn't know Kmart was outside the USA. Huh. That's crazy. You mean like Kmart, like a store with like I don't like a department store? That's the same. I just want to make sure we're thinking the same one. I wonder if they're owned by the same company. They might have just bought the name or used the name. I didn't know they had them in other places. But when I was a kid, and I'm 41 now, when I was a kid, Kmart was bigger than Walmart until Walmart kind of blew up. Like there was a Walmart, but it wasn't like it was. Like Kmart was where we went. Like that's even before. That's before Walmart started having like groceries and everything. It was just like department store. Y'all have Targets down there? Down there. I'm saying down there. Like to me, it's down because I'm up here and you're over here on the globe. I guess I should just say there. But uh, but yeah, they're all pretty much out of business here. Yeah, I mean, all the Targets in the state I live in, they're all gone. Like I don't know if because I want to say like all the Kmart's are gone here. Okay, here it says there are 20 Kmart retail stores in the United States as of October 19, 2022. The state with the most number of Kmart's is in the U.S. Virgin Islands with four stores. Oh shit. Yeah, it says there's Kmart. At least when I open it up, there's Kmart's in Queenstown, St. Luke's, Albany. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I learned something new. I guess it's just because they don't have anything else there. That's crazy though. I didn't know they had. I pulled up the Kmart, the New Zealand Kmart's section. That's crazy. Well, I didn't know that. I learned something new today. Also, I didn't know there were Kmart's in the Virgin Islands either, but so if you really want to go to Kmart, you still got a chance if you're at least in some of those areas. Not trying to dox you, just saying. I've never left the country, so well, I guess I wouldn't technically be leaving the country if I went to the Virgin Islands, but I've never been anywhere like that. Um, I'm friends with a few people on Facebook, but like I haven't really stayed in good touch with them. Plus, everything's been so fucked up for me the last couple of years because of the car accident, and then all that kind of stuff. And I haven't really gone out much, and now just not having any money to go out. Yeah, unfortunately, since that was the only place I used to meet women was at work. There's more than one woman, but there was one like yeah that fucked me up, but I was in love with, and we were going out, and she cheated on me, and yada yada. Yeah, it's one of them things where I learned like before that happened, I was like, there's no way I would put up with that shit. But man, I got so fucked in the head. That's why I try not to judge people that stay in shitty ass relationships because I kind of understand now. Like, trust me, if I could go back and tell myself not to do it, it wasn't like it was good, but because I got all like fucked up in my head and I was like legit in love with her, and she was in love with me too. I know this sounds wrong and this sounds like I'm being crazy here, but she's just so fucked up. She just went back to her. Well, they're married now, but like went back to her. I'll say husband, even though they weren't married before, but because because they had kids and shit and had been together like since they were younger. So she just always went back to this guy. So that was my mistake there. Like I thought some people when they tell you, "Hey, I hate this motherfucker. He's a piece of shit. I don't want to be with him anymore." I took her at her word, and I didn't realize how strong the hold was, and how in her head she thought it was best that she had him be a part of her life with the kids and shit. I don't know. Then she also went crazy. She tried to kill herself. He stopped her, and I know this sounds crazy as fuck. This is like a goddamn soap opera. She tried to kill herself. Then she got put in like a mental facility. Um, and then whatever she got out, we were done at this point. But like, yeah. But I was stupid because I was still trying when I should have not been. And when she was back together with him, I ended up like having an affair with her at one point. Not saying it was all spicy. This time I knew. Part of it I think was like because I blamed him. I still do because I hate the motherfucker, and because I loved her, it's hard. Even though I know it's her fault, right? Because as far as I know, he didn't know I exist. Well, he knew I existed, sort of, but I don't think he knew we were together. Like I don't know. But so when I cheated with her, when she was with him again, it almost made like this sounds horrible. I almost felt like I got a little bit of revenge. Like I know it's stupid, but then I got whatever. And then she got crazy and like joined up with like got all religious and shit, and like that was kind of like. And then when I almost died in a car wreck, she was still around. But while I was in the fucking rehab for my car accident, she just quit talking to me. So I'm like, fuck her. So I'm done. Like it's complete. And sometimes it goes back in my head, but like I wouldn't ever. I won't say I wouldn't ever talk to her again, but I wouldn't ever fall in love with her again like that. Like if she called me tomorrow and said he was dead and blah blah blah, I'd probably just be like, too bad, you missed out. I'll just stay alone. It's not worth the trouble. Yeah, I mean she was. I mean, yeah, I guess she was bad. She was fucked up. Like I should have known. Like I didn't. I knew she was kind of fucked up, but I was trying to be nice and get the benefit of the doubt because I liked her. But yeah, so it was kind of fucked up. Trust me. So it's my fault a little bit, a lot of bit of her fault. I should have known better. I should have cut it off when I did. I think it would have been a little bit better. But part of that played into her as well because we should have quit. We should have just. This would be my advice to anybody if they really ever have this happen, and it was something so fucked up. You just need to cut that person. It was kind of a little hard because she was still working there, so I would have had to seen her. But like, I should have cut her out of my life completely. Like that was the best way to handle it. Unfortunately, at that time, I didn't think so because my brain was still on the I'm in love with her, and you know what I'm saying. So and it fucked me up a lot, but like whatever. I'm sure I'm not. I'm 100% guaranteed that I'm not the only person ever had something like that to happen to me. What is that restaurant? Well, it's out of business now, but it was called Rafferty's. I'm sure you never heard of it because they've never had any outside the United States. It's kind of like a steakhouse, kind of similar place, kind of like a little bit not like fine dining, but like kind of like the middle of the road. I mean, it can happen. The thing is, I was older. I should have known better. I did let that happen one time when I was working at similar situation with this girl. Um, but like I was stupid and young at that time, so I kind of blame myself for that. I've never been great. Like my problem is I probably could have had more women if I wanted. My problem is like I don't like most of the women like even if I was like they're hot, I didn't like them. I wouldn't want to be with them. And I never was the guy just to be like, I just want to go fuck. So I never really tried. And like, I would fall like in my head. Maybe all the times I wouldn't reel up, but I would get like, I don't know if infatuated. Infatuated has like sounds like a bad thing, but I would like them more. And then like by the time everything like I already had myself hooked beforehand. So that's really what fucked me. Like that's probably happened to me like three times really. Not counting high school. Because I don't really count that, even though it did happen in high school. Yeah. So now I know better, but unfortunately I'm a cripple. So what am I gonna do? A lot of people say it's you should never mess with a woman at work, which is probably a good thing to have. But like I didn't do anything but work and come home. So like the only place I met people was at work really. So I never had that opportunity. Like, and I guess that's on me. Maybe I should have been doing more. But that job that I had, like working in a restaurant's tough, man. Like physically, and if you, I used to work a lot of hours, and I'd work random shifts or late at night. So it wasn't like I could plan. And I never had weekends off, so I couldn't ever like plan on joining a club or doing something. Or when I was off, I didn't feel like going and doing something. So like some of it's me, but some of it was the industry I was in. Um, I did have this girl on online one time a long time ago through YouTube that I met like and we kind of went out, but it got really weird. She was a she was a lot younger than me, or at least I was a lot younger too. This is back when I was in my 20s, but I think she was like 19 or something. She was of age. I don't want to like secret kind of things like that. But then like we were talking and we would talk. She lived in a whole different state, and then like if I got like it felt like she was getting like really like clingy like super early on. Yeah. No, she was of age. I don't know if I was never that big, so I don't know. Like you hear like these other ones that took advantage of their fans or whatever. I like that was another reason I didn't like it. So I kind of was like broke it off, and then I kind of felt bad about it afterwards. But I mean, the main thing was like she was like in Cal. I think she lived in California. I live in Tennessee. New Zealand, I know it's not that big of a country, right? So if I had to drive, it would take like 2 days to drive there. That's how far it is from where I live. If you had to fly on an airplane, I think it would probably take like 3 or 4 hours. I'm not sure. I've never been on an airplane. But it wasn't like, oh, she's 30 minutes away or 20 minutes away. It was pretty long distance. And at the time, it didn't seem like she was going to college and living with her parents and stuff. So it didn't seem like there was going to be no like her coming here. I didn't have the money to go there. So it was like, in my head, it was like you can have. That's why I don't get. Like I get a little bit. Like a lot of I hear a lot of these like people like, oh, I got a girlfriend for years online. I'm sorry, it doesn't make up for real life. It's not a real relationship. I'm sorry, especially if you never see each other. Like I just don't. So like all that got in my head and everything else. Yeah, I think that was the only time. There was one girl on YouTube that I got a stupid infatuation with a long time ago, and I got messed up. That's my problem. I get messed up in my head. I don't know why, because I'm usually pretty rational. Women is like the one thing that makes me lose my mind sometimes, especially if I get like infatuated or if I get like for some reason. And I'm not like crazy. I'm not like a simp. Like, ooh, I donated to Amaranth or ever. Ooh, she's gonna marry me. It wasn't no shit like that. It was just another content creator on YouTube back in the day when I made other kinds of videos. Like this is like 12 to 15 years ago, something like that. Like way back, like in 2007 or 8. So this, I'm not trying to sound incelly or like whatever, but some women, they give off like this. I always wonder is like, was it my fault that I misread them? Because I've had a few girls where I'm like, they really like me, and I let some other people's head get into my head. They're like they'd be like, man, she likes you, she likes you, she likes you, she likes you. So then I let that get. I'm like, there's no way. Like, and then I'm like, maybe they're right. It does seem like that. Then I bring it up to them, and they're all like, I'm like, what the fuck, bitch? The way you were acting, like, I don't know. It's really strange. Like, it's really weird like that with women. Like, and that sound. Maybe it isn't all women. Obviously, I've just had these experiences myself. You know. And then of course I've had a couple women that like me. Like there was one girl that was a friend with this other girl in college, and she like really liked me, had a big crush on me, but I didn't really like her. She was like super shy, so I really didn't know much about her. I wasn't attracted to her or anything. Plus there was another girl I think at this time I was already like head over heels for. Uh, so so yeah, that one. And then there was a girl I worked with that was like I had no interest in, and she was really in love with me. She even like technically sexually harassed me at work one day. And like I'm never, I'm like the one time I felt like a woman because I was just come back there to talk to somebody else. She worked in a different part of the kitchen, and she just ran up to me and like hugged me, dude. And I was just like, I was just like, I felt like violated almost. Yeah, but whatever. Because I didn't mind, like, because I knew all this and everybody did, and she would like be talking about it to everybody else and shit. Now, if I'd have did that, now if I would have did that, like, if there'd have been a girl and I would have done the same thing, this is gonna be a double standard. I feel if I would have done the same thing, if I'd have been going around telling everybody like, I mean, everybody out loud, like, man, I really want to be with, say this person's name's Rebecca, and like this wasn't their name. I'm not revealing any names. Not that anybody would ever find out, but like Rebecca, man, you know what? I really think Rebecca's sexy and hot. And I mean, I wish she would be with me and like all this. And then I would go up to Rebecca and like hug her and all this shit, knowing that she really didn't have those kind of thoughts for me. Like I would have probably gotten fired or I'd have got sexual harassment against me. So I just found it funny. But I wasn't gonna report her because like I didn't really it didn't really bother me the most except that one time because it was just kind of like because I didn't know what to do, man. Like, what did I do? I just sat there and took it. Shit. Don't put my phone there. I mean, she wasn't like super fat. She was big. Like, I don't know how y'all measure down there. I don't know if you use this meters, centimeters, or whatever. Uh, I'm about 6'4", give or take. She was like 6'2", so like she was really tall. It was even. I'll be honest with you. It was even more. It was even more than like looks. Like I didn't really like her personality. I thought she was kind of dumb and did a lot of stupid shit and was like immature. She was younger than me too, but I don't know about how much. Whereas like the other girl, she didn't ever come off immature. She didn't come off like dumb. Or like she just was fucking crazy. You know, like which I kind of should have known, but I also didn't want to be. I felt like I was trying to be. I didn't want to be like biased. So I was like, well, maybe she's not that crazy. Well, guess what? She was. The other girl, she was just yeah. She would have been even if she would have been hot. I don't think I would. I would not have wanted to be in a relationship with her. You know what I mean? I just think because like I don't know, like maybe it was my fault because I was like I always joke around. I would talk to people and stuff, and just like at work and stuff. I don't think I ever came off to her, gave her any kind of like where I wanted to talk to her or anything like that. So I hope I didn't lead her on. Like I mean, I might have, but I was just like because I would talk to her or whatever. But like what it so I don't know. But yeah, I just think she liked me because of my personality and everything. Most people always like me and stuff. Um, the tall one or the one I was in love with. No, because I wouldn't say most people thought she was attractive, so I would say no, giraffe. More, well, she wasn't like skinny, skinny, but she wasn't like obese. She wasn't like fucking like 400 pounds or nothing, you know. But I mean, I would never expected to be with like a super skinny girl because I'm not that skinny. But like, I mean, people would talk to her. I don't know, but it wasn't like I don't think I was giving her more attention than I give anybody else. The thing is, like, working, you said you worked in restaurants before, like we'd have like the line where you cook like the food where they come in order, like you grill the steaks or make the salads or whatever. So that was one place. And then like I did everything in the kitchen. So I would work up there. Sometimes I do in prep, like where I'd be making like the soups or mashed potatoes, like the big batch stuff. And like she worked back there too sometimes, and she would do like she made like the cold stuff, like slicing lettuce and ham and shit like that, and doing making salad mix and stuff like that. So sometimes we'd have to both be back there, and I'm like sitting back there for like 6, 8 hours a day. I'm gonna be like talking and joking around, but I would have done that with anybody. It didn't matter who she was. So like, and it wasn't like I gave her more attention than somebody else, you know. So like maybe she felt that way, but I just think she liked me as my personality and everything else, you know, and joking around and shit. But I felt like I was always up front with her. Like I didn't. I always told her no, no, no. I mean, I would say in my life, working in the kitchen, it would have been the majority would have been men in the kitchen and women usually serving. But we did have some women that worked in the kitchen. It would just depend. It wasn't like segregated or anything. And then you would have some men that were servers too. So, but I would say more out for what we call the front of the house, being servers or hostesses. They were usually women, and usually the people in the kitchen were men. I'm trying to think. When I worked at two different. It was the same restaurant, but I worked at two different locations. I know when I first started there, there were like two, or maybe I don't know if it was when I first started, but at some point there were two girls that worked there, and they worked in the back in the prep. They didn't work on the line. And then I know there was one lady. She'd been working for the place for a long time. She transferred from another location, and she just did prep. But she'd been there for a long time. She was an older lady. And then I'm sure I know there was one girl that worked on the line, and then there was another girl that worked on the line. There was like three that I remember working on the line overall. Most of them were in prep in general. I'm trying to think. Yeah. So it would have been like I don't know what the percentage would have been, but it would have been way more than 50% men compared to women that are hell. It's probably like hell if I've only worked with like less than 10 women in the kitchen, it was probably like 95% men to women that I work with personally. Yeah, I never worked fast food. I always worked like what we call fine dining, like sit down kind of stuff. Even when I was in high school, I worked at this restaurant. I was a dishwasher, and that was like a sit down restaurant. And then I worked at that one for. I started as a dishwasher when I was in college. Moved up cooking, did everything there, and just kind of got stuck doing it because you had to have the money. Uh, I did get a job at another place, but God, it was terrible. And so I quit, and then I got another job at another restaurant, but it was terrible also. So I quit there. That was then. Then I did go work. Oh yeah, I did work with another girl. When I was working at the other one for I worked for a while where it was like it was corporate place, but it was inside like an office. So they had like a cafeteria inside the office, but it wasn't like just a plain cafeteria. Like we would have different stations where they would cook hamburgers or whatever, or you'd have like I made sandwiches deli. And like one girl, there was one girl that worked there. She worked. She was usually downstairs prepping, but she ran the line when she was up there. But she was like a trained chef, and she would make like different stuff. Like sometimes she'd have pasta, or like shrimp and grits, or created something else like a salmon dish or whatever. So I kind of forgot about her. She worked there. She was actually one of the better ones that I worked with ever, like in the actual kitchen. I liked her a lot. Um, let's see what else. Yeah, I guess that's about it. But yeah, I'd still say it was 95% that I work with in the kitchen would have been because I probably worked with like in restaurants like the turnover for all them years. I'm sure I worked with over 1,000 different people, probably more, probably like close to like 1,500 people, different people in my life. I had I don't know, like I did videos about all this shit a long time ago where I talked about all this, but I don't remember where they're at or what happened to them. Yeah. Shit. I don't know why. Sometimes. Shit. What happened there? Lowered. I don't know what just happened. If I go offline, I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry, I was having some issues. I was trying to open. Some reason. That's crazy. I wouldn't have thought it would be that big a turnover in something like that. Sometimes I had to put the my OBS on full screen on this monitor because sometimes the chat will show up on the OBS screen, but it won't show up in YouTube chat. I don't know why. What is embedded software? What would that mean? Like I know like programming, but like I don't know that terminology. What would that specifically mean? Is that like would that be like for websites or something different than what I'm thinking? I'm just or like working on an actual like project to like develop like say an OBS or whatever. Just curious. All right. This chapter is going to be pretty unique though. We're at 1064 Egghead's Research Stratum. Because like the cover story finally shows like everybody kind of knew what was coming, that Aokji and well we didn't necessarily know it was Von Augur, but they kidnapped Pudding. I wonder why he hasn't changed the name. It still says Germa 66's Cold Blooded Voyage. Like it seems like it's not about Germa anymore because it's got Blackbeard's they kidnapping Pudding, so that's kind of weird. But what we get like is that Pudding is they're in the this is like the first time a lot of people were talking about this in like some of the discussions. Oh, okay. So it's funny that we have this is like a lot of people point out it's like the first time. Okay, that's interesting. I guess it's an all right job. You've been there a while, or are you one of the people that moves on a lot? Um, maybe is it like people that want they think they want to do more than just that or something? Maybe that's why they move on. But this first time that like someone has been like in the chapter story and the actual chapter the first time. Is what a lot of people are talking about. Like I don't know if it's 100% true, but I'm trying to think back. And usually a cover story is something that happened before the normal story, or it's something that's happening alongside of it. So it's kind of strange. Blackbeard and Law are having a good little fight here. Law cuts. No, that's not right. Yeah, Law ends up cutting friggin' stronger in half, and Blackbeard's like, I didn't know you could do that shit. But then Blackbeard's like busting out the fucking quake fruit on them, and they're kind of like fucked. Doc Q throws the apples, kind of blows up shit. But this is what we find out. Like, I said this, a lot of people said this last time, so it's not all mine. But most people thought, like, Law's crew was a bunch of chumps. And they actually did kind of do something and surprise me and most people. Like, I didn't know, like, was it Penguin and Sachi or whatever? They're busting out like they're good underwater fighters and shit. Spread out some water gun, whatever. And then we also find out Beppo's got some really good hearing, so he was able to notice that the sniper was shooting Law, and Jean Bart protected him. Jean Bart's pretty strong, I guess. I wonder if he can use hockey. We don't really see or nothing. But you know, like One Piece world's kind of different. Like an average Joe person, like they would get shot with a bullet and die. But like even like a weak person might not get shot by a bullet, might not still be enough to take them out, right? So I'm actually fairly happily surprised that the Law's crew has stepped up. I didn't really expect all that. Then Law stabs Blackbeard. Blackbeard's not looking like he's doing too good. Augur goes to save him. This is funny. He's basically saying, should we just return? But Blackbeard's like, no, fuck this shit. We're going to finish it. It is weird because I was reading a lot about like a lot about um, a lot about how Blackbeard sometimes he will like run away from a fight a lot because a lot of people are talking about that, but then people are like, no, he doesn't always run, so it's kind of weird. But he did kind of back down in Amazon Lily, right? Because even though like they were kind of fucked because of how everything went, and then Rayleigh showed up too, obviously, but he still backed down and left, right? He also did the same thing when he captured Bonnie. He also did, which actually I guess is smart. Maybe he knows his limits or whatever. So here he's not thinking that like it's over just yet. So he's like, we can still take out Law, you know, whatever. Even with Law's crews not such chumps as we thought they were. So still going to go for it because maybe it also depends on how important something is to him. Like where he'd like to have gotten Hancock's powers. Um, Maybe they weren't as important as trying to get the Poneglyph rubbings or whatever. So, and then I guess Law was wanting to sink the ship because Law's talking about how Blackbeard, all his crew has the devil fruit, but Blackbeard seems to think that it's worth the trade off. And I would almost agree. Like, how many, let's be real, as long as they got like some people that could jump in and save them from the water, the being like the devil fruit weakness isn't that big a weakness in One Piece. Like, you know, like if you were just some regular dude that didn't have like a crew to back you up a little bit, yeah, it might be the case. But like as long as you got somebody that can, because I mean Luffy, they've been thrown in the water. Big Mom got thrown in the water, and she even got washed up on the shore. She should have been done. So I think that the power, how much power it gives you versus the downside of it, it's truly not. I think Blackbeard's actually right. Like, I mean, I'm sure it was a certain situation. Like, if this case, all of Blackbeard's crew, but I imagine some of the fodder people don't have devil fruits. But I don't know how far Blackbeard's taking it because I remember because Kaido, like most of his main force, they all had the smile. But yeah, it kind of reminds me. A lot of people were pointing out that they're in a submarine, so it kind of makes sense they would be good for fighting on the water. And the simple fact, you would think it would be pretty important as a pirate to be good water fighters. But like, shit, I lost train of thought. Plus, they're in a submarine, so like they're underwater. So maybe Law is the only devil fruit user on their team or whatever you want to call it. But then we see Pudding is actually there on this ship, right? So this brings up another thing, like if Pudding's actually there, does that mean that Aokji's there too? Because Von Auger and her are both here on the ship, right? We don't see Aokji because a lot of people are thinking like, oh man, what happens if he shows up and just freezes the ocean like we know he can do? Is that going to make a big difference, right? Like that could be a turning point that could take away their advantage that they seem to have right now. There seems like there's been some issues with this, like because I was reading some of the spoilers, and somebody had translated. Here it says, "Mama's gonna make you eat those words if she's still alive," and like I think one of the spoiler translations was saying that she confirmed she was dead. Now, how could she confirm that she was dead or whatever? And then ever who she's responding to, uh, that we're fighting her killer right now in law. So like, because a lot of people were like, is Big Mom and Kaido dead, or are they just basically dead? Like, so we don't really know. So I'm not going to confirm that until Oda confirms it himself, because none of these people know exactly, because none of them people were there. So there might be maybe there'll be a cover story where Big Mom and Kaido was trapped and they had to escape or something. So I'm curious about that. And it looks like Pudding's got her eye out, so we all know that. So that's probably why Blackbeard wanted her kidnapped. We get some more law fighting against Blackbeard. Blackbeard, he's using that move he used on Big Mom. All right, man. Sorry. Well, we got talking about all that other shit, so I didn't really get into review. Nice talking to you, man. Have a good one. Good luck in New Zealand. Blackbeard, Black Vortex. Then we get to find out. Then it cuts to Aki Inu, and he's basically who's somebody ends up telling him. So like they must. This has brought up a lot of theories too. Like, uh, is Ekichi there, and he's spying, and he's told him that they have another spy there? Because how else would they know that Law and Blackbeard are fighting right now? And then we also get to know the name of the island is called Winter Island. Not Winter, but Winter is in the person who will win. So I wonder if that has anything to do with it being called that or why it's called that. I'm curious of that. And he says being Fleet Admiral is frustrating. So I don't know if that means like, because if he wasn't Fleet Admiral, he would just go himself and do it. So maybe that's kind of what it means. That does kind of happen. Like if some people, if you get too much power, you kind of almost get stuck. Even if you got power, there's shit you still can't do that you might could have done at less power. So I understand that. Then we cut back to Egghead Island. The Kuma Pacifista police is kind of like whatever. We come to find out that Bonnie transformed, I guess, her and Jinbei into kids. Chopper and then Luffy. Luffy's looking haggard. It says Luffy age 70, a glimpse at a possible future. I think that's like, people were talking about it in like one SBS that Oda drew Luffy old, and this was like worst case scenario. So hopefully it's just like, it's like a gag and not a serious thing. Because Luffy looks spent. Luffy looks like fucked. And then Chopper looks like he ain't gonna make it much longer either. And then we get this whole Jinbei. He's basically telling us shit we kind of already knew, because we always heard that Kuma was a tyrant or whatever, and he's saying that's what it was. And he got kicked out and then became a pirate, and then that's why he got caught. And then he had ties to the revolutionaries, right? And then Vegapunk took an interest in him, and then that's how he got left back as a Shichibukai. And then Bonnie's saying why, but she didn't understand why he would become a mindless cyborg. So we really don't know. So that's kind of another one of those Otis secrets that we need to get revealed. And I would think this would be a good time for it to get revealed, like with Bonnie, Kuma, all coming up. Vegapunk's there, and also what happens at the end of the chapter also. And then she finds this thing. It looks like it's kind of like a lightsaber kind of deal. But then Bonnie's like, he wasn't a tyrant. So we don't know like why did Kuma agree to all this? Is it set up with Vegapunk? What's the deal? Then we learn this is also another thing. that comes out. Bonnie says that he said he was part of a very special race. Now, I don't think that means Lunarian because he doesn't look like a Lunarian, but what race is that? So I'm curious about that. A lot of people were talking about, like, Big Mom said she was missing like 3 races from her pirate crew, and one of them was a giant, and we also think another's Lunarian. Is Kuma the third one? What's the deal with that? Hopefully we'll find out about that. And Chopper's like a special race, so he's noticing that. So hopefully we'll get an answer to that in this arc too. So like while there's a little bit of mysteries here, like it was also just kind of teasing at maybe these getting answered. Hopefully sooner than later. By the end of the arc, I'm sure we'll have answers to these questions because I don't know why we wouldn't. Then we cut to the other group, and the robot's like flying. It explains it has anti-gravity jet thrusters, and I still don't understand exactly, but apparently something to do with the climate thing. Like that's another reason they can do this. Maybe it's kind of like on Shabundi or something because it's a special climate. But then they also think they can do this everywhere. Like so, this could be also another thing. Once everything goes, they can make everything. If they can use all this feature tech everywhere, people would probably be better off, which I kind of agree with. They see some of the holograms, talking about how futuristic it is. We see that they made it to the stratum, and we kind of see that it's like a sky island. They have the clouds. Some of the other ones are remembering when they were in Skypiea. Frankie's like, "Oh, it's the first time I was here." All that kind of shit. Ends up getting all of them to change clothes. They see the Vegapunk lab. They put in like basically the same clothes. I'm guessing there's like a clothes changing machine here, like there was with Luffy, and all of them got theirs from. Hopefully they don't get arrested, but now look at this shit right here, man. Come on, Oda. Oda's got like Robin. Like Robin's like 90% naked here, man. Shit. And Nami's got like boop, like a skirt / dress. It's like, come on. Sanji's the only one. He kind of gets like just a Hawaiian style shit, right? But a lot of people were pointing out that Frankie's got pants on like for the first time ever. But there, at the end of this is where we get the real big thing. And then I'm assuming this means this guy, the Vegapunk 1 is the original Vegapunk, but I don't know. Like still, all that's up in the air to me. The problem with being a genius is that you can see your own future coming to. Wonder if that has anything to do with like hockey. I haven't heard nobody else bring that up, but I could see that being a thing. And then what are you talking about, Vegapunk? And then he says, "I think I'll be dead soon." And then he says, "Don't kid about something like that. I just wanted you to know about this dragon." So we're going to find out that Vegapunk is talking to Dragon, right? So that also changed a lot of things because it didn't seem like Vegapunk was a bad dude, like, you know, overall, like, but he worked for the world government. But now we see that he's talking to Dragon from the Revolutionaries, right? So that means he has something. And then it also kind of leads back to Kuma. So I also would say this would kind of get finished at the end of this. Also, I wonder if Vegapunk is going to get killed because Vegapunk would be like part of the old world too. Maybe like the original does, but maybe some of his robots live on or whatever they are. Like the other numbers of the Vegapunks has been split, whatever. We'll get an explanation for that. Maybe one of them or some of them will live on and be like the new generation to push his stuff out there. Or maybe he won't die. Maybe he knows that CP0 is coming after him and all that shit. Or if he means he's dying because he's going to die because he's old. But if anybody could counteract, like Freya's like fucking so old, but we don't know how old Vegapunk is. But is he thinking about that? Then a lot of people are like, well, he doesn't realize Luffy and them can save him, but he knows they're there, so I don't know why he would say that now. But that might also be the case, so maybe Luffy and them will end up saving him, and that might be what ends up happening. I don't know. So that's kind of curious. So that'll be part of it. I'm assuming there's going to be some sort of fight to save Vegapunk. Like, we're probably going to find out, like, maybe he'll, unless Bonnie kills him before he gets to spit anything out, and then she finds out about it later. That's kind of crazy. And then also, another people brought up, like, they saved Kuma, and so maybe now Vegapunk can teach him how to save him. Or, as another kind of crazy theory, was I saw that they think maybe the revolutionaries are going to show up here with with like even Dragon, but maybe like they'll show up with Kuma, so Vegapunk can fix him. I don't know if that's gonna happen. It's a possibility. I don't see it as being crazy to think that he could, especially that he's talking to the revolutionaries. Now, is it Vegapunk started working for the world government, realized thought it was for the best, then kind of seen how corrupt it was with the celestial dragons? I don't, because let's face the facts, some of the people in the world government, I think they mean well. It's kind of hard to feel like that about Aki Inu because he's so violent. He's willing to kill like just random citizens and shit. But I don't necessarily think he's like Celestial Dragon or Eam or them or the Agurasai. But then you got like Aokji who kind of is like he does the shit, he doesn't like it, but like he isn't gonna go all out like Akaina did. Kizaru's a little in between that too. He kind of seems like the ones that he'll just follow orders regardless. It seems to be his thing. So that's kind of what I see with him. And then like Green Bull's kind of on that same level of like Aki Inu somewhat. But Fujitoro seems like he's more like Aokji and really wants just what's best for people. And then also like you got like Smoker and Tashigi. You wouldn't say any of them were bad. And Kobe and Garb and even Sengoku to a certain extent. Like I think he might take some shit too far. And maybe they're also worried that like if the pirates end up doing all this to turn over the world, that and then also let's be frank, not all the pirates are good. Like we're really looking at like Luffy's crew, they're totally different. And like I wouldn't say Laws are like completely bad either, but like you gotta think like people like Blackbeard or Kid even, some of the other ones, Buggy, ones that would take over kingdoms, Arlong, some of that shit, right? Um, so yeah, you see pirates is generally bad. And then also he might just be worried that like the world government might just like could be that like if they think they're gonna lose, they're just gonna say fuck it, we'll burn it all to ground. Maybe that's part of what happened in the Void Century. Maybe like they were about to lose, and so they just pulled out the like atomic weapons, if you will, for lack of a better word, and just said fuck it, we're just gonna wreck every shit. You know what I'm saying? And like nobody could really stand up to him, so this is why we gotta wait for like Luffy and Sun God Nika and One Piece, and like maybe he can actually do the thing that needs to be done because they know like no matter how strong they are, they like think that like they still can't compete up to that level, and especially for Sengoku, he would know more probably than I mean Garp might know too, just because he's been around. But like Sengoku and some of them might know the extent of the power of the world government, like the nobles and all that, more so than your average everyday person. And I would say, unless a place is run by like some shitty like king, like on some islands, like even if they're having to give some of the money to the celestial dragons or the world nobles, they're probably relatively. It's kind of like most people. You're relatively living in like peace, and you got like a basic stuff, unless it's just really fucked. So you don't really think about that kind of thing. And like if you don't see, we're kind of looking at it from a different place. We're seeing shit people don't know about. I'd say the average person might know what a celestial dragon is, but they don't know like what they're capable of. If they have slaves, they kill people, that they do all this horrendous shit, and like it's sanctioned. You know what I'm saying? Or also like they might not even see how bad like their own kings and stuff do. And not everybody has a bad king. Like Cobra wasn't a bad king. I would say Neptune was not a bad king. Um, let's see, what other countries that we've seen that didn't like Syrup Village didn't seem like it was that bad a place. Like where Luffy was from, we didn't see that originally, but then we did find out about Goa Kingdom and like the what was it called, the junk place? Where it was, everybody's garbage or whatever, the gray terminal. So we did see shit like that also. So like we know a lot more, and that's also probably also why Dragon maybe started the revolutionaries too. And then when there's about the what is it, Wolf or whatever the bridge is, like most people on Enos Lobby wouldn't have not Enos Lobby, but Water 7 wouldn't have thought it was that bad because like Iceberg kind of ran it, but like he wasn't like a king or nothing, so it was kind of totally different. I would even say like most people seen like the good side of Shamundi, but even then they would see the downside because they know about the celestial dragons and stuff. So they were a little bit more in the end. The average person wouldn't, because I remember when they were talking about slaves, like they got mad at one Marine. Like you don't say that because you don't want that out there. So you also know that there must be something like because guess what? The celestial dragons, like in general, they don't seem like they're that strong by themselves. So there has to be something to keep some of this shit in line, like where they know, like they know something that could just fuck them up. Because if they really cared and weren't worried about power, like I would think, like a halfway deep, like Whitebeard or just bring up the fishermen, they could have beat all the celestial dragons, no problem. None of them have come off except for maybe Doflamingo and possibly Shanks, because a lot of people think he's a celestial dragon technically, are really that strong. But Sengoku might know about Eam, and the Gurusai obviously know about Eam. So who knows? You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things in there we know about more than a lot of people. So I see like the general world. Plus, a lot of people know pirates, and they probably like they're the ones that come rob them and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And then because everything gets put out that way, most people are going to hear pirates. They're going to think like, oh, they're bad. They're going to rob us. They're going to kill us. Yada yada. They're going to take our women. All that kind of shit, right? Uh, and I don't know what the percentage of like okay pirates versus like bad guys are, real bad guys. But like in the story, we know the world government is not good. They are corrupt. Uh, in general, like the head of the snake is. But we don't know that about like all pirates. But we do know if Blackbeard did it, he would be more likely to do some fucked up shit, like maybe like Zebek did, and that would also be why Garp and Roger worked together, because neither one of them wanted to see something like that. Because then it might have been something worse than the world government. Um, if he could have beat it, if he could have beat them. I mean, he had a pretty stout ass crew. That also goes to show you, like, I guess nobody out of Roger's crew really did more after Roger disbanded. I guess because they were just kind of like whatever and retired. Like, obviously still strong and stuff, but we don't hear much. We know there's Rayleigh, we know about him, and then what is it, Copper or Scopper Begon or whatever his name is, which we've never seen, but you always hear about. And then I mean Odin, which we didn't really know that he was part of the crew kind of, and he kind of got fucked himself. We don't know about a lot of the other people in his crew. Well, Shanks kind of made it. Buggy, technically, if you think about it now, two former Roger pirates are emperors. Crocus, we don't really know exactly about him, and I don't think nobody else knows. So we don't know who else is around or was in that did something. But like a lot of the people from the Rocks pirates when they banded, I mean, you had Big Mom, Whitebeard, Kaido. Like three of them became Yonko, and then you also had like Captain John's mentioned. You have Shiki mentioned, who is like supposed to be on par with Roger. Uh, that Wang Chi or whatever his name was, the one that like Blackbeard took over to get the full of Lead Island. And I think there was another one mentioned, Silver Axe, like name people. We kind of know they were kind of big time pirates, maybe like on the level of like Shibakai style people or something, if not Emperor level. Uh, so that goes to show you how strong his crew was. So now you got to think about like, look at like Luffy's crew. Why wouldn't somebody like Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei, somebody like that? Why wouldn't some of them have the potential to be like super big time pirates on their own? It's not a random thing, you know what I'm saying? Like I think Zoro and Luffy, like a lot of people love Sanji, but like I don't know. I don't think he has the same thing, and we already know Jinbei could be a big leader and he was in a Shibukai, right? Now is he made up to his level or is he still able to grow stronger? I don't know because he's a lot older, right? But I mean, Brook did improve, but Brook had a reason. He didn't really have a reason before that, and Jinbei's had a reason, so we don't know if Jinbei can get much stronger than he already is. But we know Zoro can, and Luffy does, and like Zoro is like, I think he'd be a level where he could be like Yonko or something eventually, at least, and be like, like Mihawk, like he's never been a Yonko, but that's just because he's always been to himself, right? I don't know. This is also a thing I thought about when I was reading, like wonder why Mihawk didn't go and join up with Shanks. Like you would think, like they were kind of friendly. I don't. They were kind of had like. I don't think they were ever really like hated each other. We've seen them hang out before and all that. Like why? And then we also find out he could fight on par with Shanks, so that's pretty impressive too. Because Shanks obviously has real strong haki. No matter how it was swords, unless Shanks said I won't use haki, I'm gonna just do straight sword fighting. Um, so curious about that. God damn, got like an itch. But yeah. So like, why didn't he just go join up with Shanks? Did he not want to? I don't know why he decided to join up with Crossgale. Because you would think being part of Shanks's crew would give him, a bunch of cover too. Because we know why. He just didn't want to deal with it. That's the only reason he became a Shibukai. He just was tired of having to fight Marines all the time. So, but I would think joining up with Shanks would give him the same advantage. So I don't know why. Maybe that's what eventually happened. Because then that way we'd also get Zoro and Mihawk, but maybe it'll be a whole separate situation. So I'm curious to see how all that plays out. But yeah, next week there's a break, so that sucks. I start my new job Monday, anyway. So I don't know when I would have been able to do the chat because I got to work like it's a weird hour, like 9:30 to 6 or something my time. And it changes when I actually get because I'm doing training. Then I don't know after that exactly what times I'll be working, so I don't know how I'll be doing reviews and everything. Plus, I don't know if I'm gonna get if I'm gonna get paid and soon enough before or I get kicked the fuck out and I'm living on the street. And in that case, who knows? So I don't know exactly what'll happen from all that. But yeah, good chapter. Interesting. We see more of the Blackbeard. I wonder if we're going to finish that off or if it's going to get Oda's going to completely cut that off. A lot of people were thinking we're going to see more after last week. So it's kind of cool to see more this week. And maybe it was also good because we got to see the Lost Crew wasn't as bad, it wasn't as useless as we thought, or at least I did. But a lot of people kind of thought that, I think. So that's kind of good. We got to see that. Learn a little bit more about Egghead Island. But I think we're going to have to focus more on that shit because we got to get some answers to these questions, Oda. You got to quit cucking us from all these secret answers. You're bringing up a little more shit like that. Oda, give us some fucking real answers. We need to know the truth to this shit. Come on, you decided that One Piece is winding down, so you got to answer some of these long held theories and whatnot. Other than that, a good chapter. I wonder if we'll get more Blackbeard versus Law fight, or if it'll be kind of cut off and we'll have to find out about it later, which makes sense. But that seems like that's kind of Oda's style, so that would not surprise me, unless because Law is such a favorite character. I don't know if I think I talked through this last time, like where a lot of people were talking didn't like some of the stuff Oda did. Like I think some of it might have been just pressure, and I'm sure Oda has a little more say than like a new or mangaka, like But even then, like even Toriyama got cucked into doing more shit with like Dragon Ball when he really didn't want to. So I think Oda has to listen to the editors. So if they say like, hey, we need to keep Law around, like so hopefully we don't do like too much Law story. Because if we do that, we're never going to get finished One Piece. So hopefully we'll find out about that later. I would love to know for sure. I just can't see logically in how the story's going. Law cannot defeat Blackbeard and like kill him and like end everything. Blackbeard's going to have to maybe not beat Law or kill Law completely, but he's going to have to get the Poneglyphs somehow and escape from Law, or somebody's going to show up, because a lot of people are thinking like maybe the revolutionaries show up. This is actually, I forgot about this. Somebody had a good point. What's his damn name? Whitebeard Jr., whatever his name is, the one that's got the little old lady and he's the big, he's supposed to be Whitebeard's son. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head. But some people's like, he's already got a grudge against Whitebeard. What if he's the one who shows up there and helps Law, maybe not directly, but indirectly, because he wants to fight Blackbeard? So maybe that's a possibility of happening also. Maybe that'll be kind of how Law can get away. We don't know. Like I said, I don't necessarily expect Law to get murdered, and definitely not on camera or in chapter. Like, if Oda wants to bring that up later, it'll piss people off, but I don't see that happening. Like I said, I think maybe Law and them will somehow escape. Blackbeard to get the Poneglyph rubbing, something, move on. Because like I think next time he might show up to the other. Because he said like one of these three people will show up here. I think he's gonna know where they all could go. He'll show up to the next island. Maybe it'll be Kid who'll have to fight, and go from there. So we'll have to wait and see how all that goes. But yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else to say. So that's about it. Like I said, good chapter. I'm gonna be on break next week. I'm gonna start my new job next week, or in 2 days or 3 days or whatever it is. So wish me luck there. I know it's gonna suck, but I gotta do what I gotta fucking do so I don't starve to death and I ain't homeless on the street. I'm already fucked on some shit, but that's a whole other story. Hopefully I can get all my other shit figured out and fix all that later, but I don't know exactly. But other than that, like if you watch all this, I appreciate it. I see there's one person in here, but I don't know if they started, because like a live stream you can start it over. So they could have started from the beginning, so they might not even be hearing me right now. So who knows? But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll get more cool One Piece shit. Oda's been on a pretty good streak lately. A lot of cool shit, so hopefully Oda keeps that up. And we'll see how it goes from there. Like, that's one thing I want to live for. I do want to know the end of One Piece, because I guess it won't matter because I'll be dead, but like, I would like to live long enough to know the end of One Piece, because it would kind of piss me off, at least me being alive now. I know once I'm dead it wouldn't matter, but being as of alive now and thinking about me being dead would not have seen it kind of pisses me off right now. So hopefully that's not the case. So hopefully we'll get to see the end of that. Well, I mean, hopefully everybody, but you know, that's me and my own personal will. Let me know what you think. Post any crazy theories if you happen to watch this video later. I'm just curious. I didn't see nothing crazy from reading, nothing that stood out to me. Just a lot of shit that like a lot of people thought was going to happen. Like the main thing is the cover story matched up to the actual chapter, which is crazy. We actually got confirmation that Blackbeard kidnapped Pudding, and the Aokiji is working with Blackbeard. Yep, so that's about it. Take it easy. Everybody have a good rest of their life. Peace out.
Ain't no motherfucker in this world could do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. I'll be cruising in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane. Making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains. I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things. Gonna make a fucking name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain. I just wanna be greatness.